These spots would even give Mr. Freeze the chills. Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 coldest places on Earth. Number 10. Snag, Yukon, Canada. Canada is called the Great White North for a reason. It might not be submerged in snow all year round, but the seasonal freezing weather has played a major role in shaping the country's culture. Heck, ice hockey was showcased on one iteration of the Canadian $5 bill. While Canada has seen its fair share of frosty days, the White River village of Snag, Yukon literally took things to a new low. On February 3, 1947, the temperature dropped to minus 62.8 degrees Celsius or minus 81.4 degrees Fahrenheit, the lowest ever recorded in the entire country. Ironically though, this temperature is actually pretty high compared to some of the others on our list today. Just think about that for a second. Number 9. North Ice, Greenland. With more visible snow than grass, Greenland might have a misleading name, but the name of this retired research station told people up front to bundle up with several layers of sweaters. Part of the British North Greenland expedition, North Ice functioned from 1952 to 1954. Within that 2-year window, temperatures below minus 59.4 degrees Celsius or minus 74.9 degrees Fahrenheit were recorded a total of 16 times. During its final year of operation, the research team recorded one of the lowest temperatures ever to grace Greenland. On January 9th, the unrelenting cold plummeted to minus 66.1 degrees Celsius, or minus 87 degrees Fahrenheit. North Ice might be a dot on Greenland's map, but it still has a place in history, largely due to the ridiculously icy weather. Number 8. Verkhoyansk, Russia. This Russian town is one of the most unique places on our list. While Verkhoyansk is known for being infamously chilly, it's also gotten extremely hot throughout history. The town even claimed the Guinness World Record for Earth's greatest temperature range, with a swing of over 100 degrees Celsius, or 180 degrees Fahrenheit. At its most smoldering, Verkhoyansk has heated up to over 37.3 degrees Celsius, or 99.1 degrees Fahrenheit. At its coldest, though, the temperature can plummet all the way down to negative numbers. In February 1892, Verkhoyansk reached its lowest temperature ever at roughly minus 67.6 degrees Celsius or minus 89.7 degrees Fahrenheit. For a period of time, this was also the lowest temperature ever recorded in the Northern Hemisphere. Fittingly enough, that record would eventually be broken by the next entry on our list. Number 7. Oimeakon, Russia. In addition to being Russian territories, both Oimeakon and Verkhoyansk have the distinction of being part of the northern Pole of Cold, which encompasses some of the world's lowest temperatures ever recorded. Like Verkhoyansk, Oimeakon is also one of the few places with a temperature range that exceeds 100 degrees Celsius or 189 degrees Fahrenheit. Although the heat can bear down on residents during the summers, Oimeakon will always be associated with its freezing climate. On February 6, 1933, Oimeakon's weather station recorded a temperature of around minus 67.7 degrees Celsius or minus 89.9 degrees Fahrenheit. This beat out Verkhoyansk's record for the Northern Hemisphere's coldest temperature, albeit by a slim margin. You wouldn't want to travel between Oimeakon and Verkhoyansk in the dead of winter. Number 6. The Klink Research Station, Greenland. North Ice isn't reportedly the only research station in Greenland that's endured sub-zero temperatures. Of course, that makes sense, seeing as how 3/4 of the country is basically a sheet of ice. Between 1987 and 1992, Klink, which is named after the isolated glacial island of Klink Nunatak in Antarctica, was part of a research project. The Space and Engineering Center of the University of Wisconsin-Madison operated an automated remote weather station there, and it had a definite payoff. They notably recorded a temperature of minus 69.4 degrees Celsius or minus 92.9 degrees Fahrenheit on December 22, 1991. Talk about freaking freezing. Number 5. Denali, Alaska. We all know that parts of Alaska are among the coldest places in the United States, but Denali takes the low temperatures to new heights. As a matter of fact, this is North America's tallest mountain above sea level, with a summit that skyrockets to over 20,000 feet. Back when the mountain was better known as Mount McKinley, the U.S. Army Natick Laboratory left a thermometer at the 15,000 feet point, where it remained from 1950 to 1969. Throughout that time, the lowest temperature recorded came in at minus 73 degrees Celsius or minus 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And that recording was only from 15,000 feet. Imagine how cold it might be at the peak. Number 4. Dome Argus, the Antarctic Plateau. Antarctica on the whole has a population of just over 1,000 people. Interestingly enough, the continent's penguin population vastly outweighs the number of human residents. The point is that it takes a special kind of person to endure this land's unrelentingly cold climate. A group from the Chinese National Antarctic Research Expeditions was up for the challenge in January 2005, however, as they found the highest point of Dome Argus. Multiple automatic weather stations were set up at this ice dome, which is located on the Antarctic Plateau. In July 2005, the dome's coldest air temperature was recorded at minus 82.5 degrees Celsius, or minus 116.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Believe it or not though, Antarctica gets even nippier than that. Number 3. The Amundsen-Scott South Pole Station, Antarctica. When people think of the coldest locations in the world, the North Pole is probably one of the first that comes to mind. Weirdly enough, however, the often overlooked South Pole is actually colder than its northern brother, complete with an ice sheet that's over 9,000 feet in elevation. You likely won't find a colder spot here than the Amundsen-Scott South Pole Station. Established in 1956, this U.S. research station sits atop the high plateau of Antarctica. The lowest temperature ever recorded here was minus 82.8 degrees Celsius, or minus 117 degrees Fahrenheit on June 23, 1982. Of course, even the highest temperature was still gelid at minus 12.3 degrees Celsius, or minus 9.9 degrees Fahrenheit on December 26, 2011. That is the South Pole equivalent of a Christmas miracle. Number 2. Vostok Station, Antarctica. For our next entry, we travel to the southern Pole of Cold, where Russia's Vostok Station was established by the Soviet Union in 1957. Even giving the South Pole a run for its cold hard money, Vostok is easily one of the chilliest places in the world, with winter temperatures averaging at minus 68 degrees Celsius or minus 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Summers may be a bit less brutal with an average of minus 31.9 degrees Celsius or minus 25.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Then again, the station faced its coldest day ever on July 21, 1983, when the temperature fell all the way down to minus 89.2 degrees Celsius or minus 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit. At the time, this was the single coldest temperature ever measured on Earth, and some would argue that Vostok still holds the record. Number 1. Dome Fuji, Antarctica. As you've probably guessed, Antarctica has dominated a good portion of this list. The continent topped itself on August 10, 2010, when temperatures were recorded at a staggering minus 93.2 degrees Celsius, or minus 135.8 degrees Fahrenheit. These measurements were taken from a bunch of pockets close to a high ridge between Dome Argus and Dome Fuji using satellite-created surface temperature maps. Both of these are summits on the East Antarctic Plateau. Since the World Meteorological Organization only acknowledges temperatures taken a few feet above the surface, it's been debated whether or not this truly counts as the all-time record. However, scientist Ted Scambos of the National Snow and Ice Data Center is, quote, confident the pockets are the coldest places on Earth, even more so than Vostok. And who are we to argue? It's not like any of us are going to Antarctica anytime soon to find out for ourselves.